Hello, welcome to easyodds.com. My name is Ross Casey. I'm here with the horse racing extraordinaire that is Jake Johns, and we're here to talk about, finally, it seems like it's been a long time coming,
God, yeah.
but we're here to talk about day one, Tuesday, 14th of March 2017. It's the Cheltenham Roar. It's day one of the Cheltenham Festival, and Jake is going to go through all 7 races with his views on each, with particular bets on some of them as well. So let's start with probably the most interesting race of the day with the Cheltenham Roar. The Supreme. There's going to be lots of offers available, and of course this is sponsored by BetVictor, who have an absolutely incredible deal where they're going to be offering new customers to bet on any sport, just £10, any sport. And if you do that as a new customer, then BetVictor are going to give you £2 to bet on every single race at the Cheltenham Festival. So these videos, daily videos, that will be one for each day with Jake. These are the ones for you if you're going to be betting with BetVictor, because you will be getting a free bet for every single race. So let's get into the Supreme, Jake.
Okay, the first race of the Cheltenham Festival. How exciting is this? I cannot believe it. I can't believe it's finally here. The importance of Cheltenham to people, horse racing fans, is just like mind-boggling. I was trying to explain it to a football fan who didn't know about horse racing. They're like, "Oh, is it like the World Cup?" But it's more important than the World Cup because at least you have the Premier League and stuff. Cheltenham is nothing compares. Nothing compares to it. And the Supreme is an unreal race. For the first time in about 8 years, I'm not going to the first day of Cheltenham. It's going to be crazy not to hear the roar. Hear it on TV, it's going to be a little bit different. But Supreme, oh God, this Willie Mullins stuff is just driving me insane. And also, I really don't think you should be able to... horses shouldn't be declared for more than 2 races, because it's just getting crazy. The Supreme, well, we have a Supreme and we just still don't really know who's going to run and who's not going to run. It's just annoying at this moment. There's so many races on the first day where you still don't at all know who's going to run in each race. But the Supreme, Neon Wolf has recently taken a huge amount of money. I don't know if his bookie's just worried about it or the money's actually coming in, but his final sectionals were fantastic on his last run, and he could be very, very interesting if he comes here. He's not my picks though. I've done my picks for this already. But Moon Racer, David Pike, you promised us that at the 5-day stage you would have in Moon Racer, the decision would be made. Is he going for the Champion Hurdle or is he going for the Supreme? Money has come in for the Champion Hurdle. I've tipped him at 40-1 for the Champion Hurdle when 14 and Annie Power in it. He could still run in this. I'll be fine with that as well. I've backed him in this as well all throughout the year. I've talked about Moon Racer non-stop for quite a while, but the form horse, he's probably got he's definitely got the best form in the race. Obviously, loads of stuff went wrong for him in the Champion Bumper when he won that year. Stayed on fantastically up the hill. Obviously loves it here, is unbeaten. Only been beaten once, and that was by blow in a bumper, where Jamie Codd has already said that he went too early that day. The acceleration he showed was still mind-blowingly amazing. And apparently he did a fantastic piece of work the other day, which is why the money came in for the Champion Hurdle, because apparently the owners want to aim him there, but David Pike wants to aim him for this. I don't mind which race he goes in. I think he's got a fantastic chance in this. He's about 5-1 at the moment. Obviously, I've been tipping him throughout the year, but 5-1 is still a decent price, I think. And I cannot believe this. Lebaic, I think he's going to run. Well, I mean, as in he's going to be there at the track. Yeah. If he's going to run or not is a different matter. The most stubborn horse in training, the new Mad Moose. He just does not want to move. But I tipped him at 50-1 for this. I got him at 1,000 on Betfair. I don't know. I can trade out for quite a bit of money, so that's all right. But it's just mental. I can't believe he's even running. But Jamie Codd in a preview said that he's the best workhorse he has ever seen. That's amazing. That's ridiculous, obviously, because he's probably seen quite a few workhorses. Gordon Elliott won't stop going on about how talented he is. If he does start, he is not a 50-1 shot, but he's about 10-1 to start. He's about 10-1 to actually start running. I think.
What will it take for him to actually want to race?
God knows. He doesn't want to race. He's a bit too clever for us. He's outsmarted everyone. But with BetVictor, actually, I think if they give you your money back if the horse doesn't run, so you have to get a run for your money. which is interesting. So if you did fancy betting on Lebeck or backing him, if you're mental, but I think he's 33 to 1 with them at the moment, and you will get your money back if he doesn't run, which is very good.
Quite likely.
I think he hasn't started in 5 of his last 7 starts. Refused to race, just doesn't fancy it. But anyway, yeah. Moonrace is my main tip, and if Lebeck starts, then maybe go on that on the exchange or something. But God, it's a bit hard to tip a horse that has only run twice in his last starts because he doesn't want to. But yeah, that's a Supreme. Still don't. I'll obviously be writing tips, and they'll be out the day before when the final declarations are out. So I'll have a really solid, mind, understand what's going on in each race. Yeah. Next up is the Arkle. I thought Charbel was going to go here after comments from Kim Bailey, and it looks like he's going to go here. The comments were basically implied that they're up for taking on Altior again because his horses weren't running that well at the time when he's the only horse to give Altior a race. I tipped him at 9 to 2 in the Novice Chase video and on site. He's now about 3 to 1. Like I said, he's the only horse to give Altior race at Sandown, and the Kim Bailey yard weren't going that well. But since February, that yard have been absolutely flying. He's got a 25% stroke rate at the moment. Obviously, this horse was 5th in the Supreme. Ahead of him was Tombstone, who obviously recently beat Jeski, absolute Irish banker for the Coral Cup. I'm not saying he's a banker, I'm saying the Irish think he's a banker. He's been back to high heaven. Min second, obviously unbeaten since but injured. Bouverdere third, second favourite for the Champion Hurdle. Altior, who won, who is going to win this if he stays up, probably. Yeah. So, now 9 to 2 without the favourite is decent. Beat Le Présienne on his first chase run of the season, who is actually 10 to 1 without the favourite for this, which isn't that bad. I would say each way that is actually all right. For Paul Nicholls, he's got some decent form in the book. A close run behind Jan Worth. He's all right at Cheltenham. I think he's an all right bet at 10 to 1, but Top Notch was behind both of them that day. My only worry would be that Charbel takes Altior from the front, thinking that he's going to get Altior beat, and then weakens back into 3rd or 4th. But on form, I think he's very talented. Kim Bailey likes him a lot. 3 to 1's decent price without the favourite still. So that's what I'll be going for there. Charbel without the favourite at 3 to 1. And now, next up is the first handicap of the meeting. And in it is probably my best bet of the entire meeting this year.
For those of you that don't know it, it's called the Ultima, correct?
The Ultima, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mention that. But single farm payment for Tom George. Absolutely tanking last time at this track. When taken out by more bucks who should have been taken out of the race already because he'd run the wrong course. Very frustrating. Gets on the same mark here though, which is obviously fantastic. He was 100% at the track before that. And his form behind Beware the Bear, who I'll mention later, Ascot, is very strong. I would actually think he had a decent chance in the RSA. He's a really good jumper. He goes on any ground, and which is another annoying thing because the weather forecast is literally changes. I look at the weather forecast twice a day for Cheltenham, and it changes completely every single time. But it's almost definitely going to be good to soft, which will be fine. The trip will be perfect. He's been backed very heavily. I'm annoyed because I wanted to get this tip out a bit before when he was about 14 to 1, 12 to 1, but he's getting backed in. He's at currently best price of 10 or 9 to 1. I think it might be 10 to 1. I'm going to go straight win with that 10 to 1. It's going to be a big field, but I think he's fantastically well handicapped and he's improving over fences. That single farm payment, almost, one of my best bets of the festival.
Almost in it.
Almost in that, but not quite. I don't know. I get a bit scared napping horses at Cheltenham. But the other horse I like in the race, for anyone who wants another horse, because obviously it's going to be a pretty big field, Druid's Nephew, won this in 2015, off this mark. In fact, he bolted up, needs good ground. He's almost definitely going to get good ground. If it's not good ground, I'll probably leave him alone. Neil Mulholland is really good at getting ready for the festival, and he's really good at getting him ready for a particular race. Even when he won in 2015, the race that he was actually aiming for was the Grand National, where he was tanking and he fell down, and he fell. But this year, this is his main target. He gets in on the same mark. Wasn't that good last time, but he hasn't run since.
Yeah.
I think he's got a decent chance on good ground. And the form of his win in this is actually pretty good as well. So it was a good race that year. I think he's got a good chance as well. Definitely hitting the frame, but single farm payment is my main bet at 10 or 9 to 1. About. Okay, next up is the Champion Hurdle. And it's another one that looks a bit iffy. I know another thing that happened. I'm just moaning. This is just might be called Cheltenham moan.
Cheltenham moans.
But I backed Limini on the exchange just after she jumped the last, when beating Apple's Jade last time.
A huge price, wasn't it?
38s and all the vibes, even up until yesterday morning, were that she's going to run in this, and then oh no, she's not running because they just don't think there's any point because she's not good enough. I assume. I don't understand really, but apparently she's going to run in the Mare's Hurdle, take on Vroom Vroom Mag. I cannot see that happening. So maybe Vroom Vroom Mag's going to go to the Champion Hurdle. That's also a mistake, I'd say, because 2 miles isn't her best trip. Although stiff 2 miles at Cheltenham might be quite good for her, and she's going to get the allowance, of course. She's currently around 10 to 1, I think. So if anyone fancies that, but I don't. I've been banging on about. Obviously, I've already talked about Moon Racer. Backed him at 40 to 1. Is he going to go here? Is he going to go the Supreme? We've gone through that. I'm not sure, so I won't talk about him anymore. But we can still get him at 10 to 1 for this, which is all right. But he's getting backed all the time. The other one I've been going on about all year, tipped him in October, Yanworth at 16 to 1, but he's currently obviously not 16 to 1, 3 to 1. Kempton didn't suit him in the Christmas Hurdle. Wincanton definitely didn't suit him, both speed tracks. He did it the hard way. It wasn't great on the eye, but the time figure at Wincanton was pretty good actually. Chittobello was behind, who is in this and is not without a chance of hitting the frame. He also beat the new one at Kempton. The track wouldn't have suited either of them that well, but definitely wouldn't have suited Yanworth, and the new one did win next time. So the form's not that bad, and he beat him pretty easily. He didn't do it on the bridle, but he did do it quite easily. You might think he probably wants a little bit further, maybe 2.5 miles, but the track at Cheltenham, that you're going to need to stay that far in this race anyway.
Yeah.
The big field's going to be perfect. Strong pace will be perfect. He's only been beaten in the last 2 years by Yorkhill, who could be an absolute superstar, by the way. And that was in the Neptune when he wasn't given the best of rides around the outside by Barry Geraghty, and he made a mistake at the third last. I just think he's a cracking bet at 3 to 1. I said in the Champion Hurdle video that I think it was 6 to 1 at the time, that you could, if you went each way, I think he's guaranteed to get each way in the top 3, but obviously he's not backable each way anymore. But yeah, so 3 to 1's a little bit skinny, but I think that's all right. You might be able to get a little bit bigger in some places, and maybe a bit bigger on the day as well. But yeah, he's the one I like in this with Moon Racer. Well, he might not run, but yeah, it'll probably just be Yanworth I go with if Moon Racer goes in the Supreme, or I might find a little bit of a bigger price.
A reminder that Jake's tips will be on site the day before each of the Cheltenham Festival dates, so make sure that you check the Easy Odds service as well as Jake's social. Yeah,
okay, so the Mare's Hurdle. Is Vroom Vroom Mag going to go here? Don't know. Is Lamini going to go here? Don't know. Don't know what's going on with Lamini. You'd assume that she is going to go here. She's very short for this now. I don't think that trip is perfect for her. I think 2 miles is way more suited. If Vroom Vroom Mag does go here, Rich Ritchie has been saying that he's going to run them against each other, but he's said a lot of things and they haven't come out. But if he does, 5 to 2 at Vroom Vroom Mag is enormous. She will probably win. She was really unlucky to get beaten by Apple's Jade. Apple's Jade was given an absolute peach that day by Brian Cooper. And obviously she got beaten by Limini last time. Apple's Jade tends to run badly after a break and then come on quite a lot for the next run, but I still think Vroom Vroom Mag will have enough. Obviously she won this last year, 5 to 2, massive, but is she going to go to the Champion Hurdle? It's possible. But if she does get 5 to 2, that's a good price, and it's non-run and no bet in a lot of places. So go for that if you want. But I haven't got a massive, play on that race. 4 miler. Also, the declarations aren't a bit confusing for this as well. Things you have to concentrate on this race, because obviously amateur riders. Who is Derek O'Connor going to ride? Who is Jamie Codd going to ride? They're going to be on the top 2 in the market, and it is so important. It makes a massive difference. Those 2 are superb jockeys. And some of these guys are not. And I'm pretty sure that Derek O'Connor is going to ride Ed Wolf, who was a really impressive winner last time. It's probably graded standard, close to grade 1 standard, novice, over 3 miles. Jumped way better than he had in the past, but I possibly think he might want it a little bit softer, but he has got a fantastic jockey on board to do the steering. So I think Ed Wolf is decent. He's decent. I can't remember what price he is. I think he's about 7 to 1. And then Jamie Codd is going to go on Genie on a Bottle, who is favourite at the moment. Unbelievably good second to Coney Island, who is unfortunately not going to run at the festival last time at Nace. Will definitely like the step up in trip, and absolutely battered Blazer the time before. But the one I like is Beware the Bear, who I mentioned earlier. Beat Single Farm Payment Ascot at the start of this, earlier in the season. Hopefully, it's going to have Sam Whaley-Cohen on, because he's another jockey who's decent in this kind of race. He's unbeaten in his last 4, all 3 this season. Really, really easy. Obviously, I just said the form ahead of Single Farm Payment and Aurelac at Ascot is very, very strong. He's only going to get better over further. Nicky Henderson has already said that he's a Grand National horse of the future. I think he has got a fantastic chance of this. He jumps really, really well. 4 miles is going to suit definitely. Hopefully, he has Sam Whaley-Cohen on board. But again, he's not definitely going to run. I know Nicky Henderson was leaving it until the last minute. If he doesn't run, I'm going to have to rethink the whole race, because I just don't know. It's going to be one of the top 2 probably in the market. But if he does run, I think he's a fantastic chance, and he's a really decent bet at 10 to 1 as well. Yes, and
of course our sponsors Bet Victor currently are non-runner, no bet. So if you do fancy that at 10 to 1, Beware the Bear in the 4 miler. Have a little tinkle now. Get your money back if it doesn't run.
And the last race of the day is the Close Brothers Handicap Chase for novices. I haven't got a massive play in this one yet, because there's a massive field and I just haven't had the time to have a proper look at it, but I will do, and obviously, like I said before, on site. These could change, but there's a couple that I like, and I'll mention them all now, and they're all decent prices as well. Value at Risk, possibly the class angle in the race, goes for Dan Skelton. Close second in a grade 2 here before a really good 5th in the Albert Bartlett. This horse probably prefers good ground, and it was absolutely horrendous ground that day. It was the one that Martello Tower won, and obviously he's a proper heavy ground horse. Won really well last October, that was the last time we saw him. Really lightly raced, same mark as when he won. The second that day, Wishing and Hoping, has ran very well twice since then, but fell in both races, was competing at the finish both times. He's definitely going to run as well, because Harry Skelton's already been booked, so he's decent at 10 to 1, and he is going to shorten, I reckon, as well. There's a couple more that I like that I just caught my eye. Hammersley Lake, decent form behind Le Presien at Cheltenham, and top notch. Pretty strange ride by David Mullins last time. Looked possibly like they were looking for a handicap mark, so they've been put down £2 for that, and it's interesting he's put into this. Potter's Legend obviously is decent here as well, about 20 to 1. Hammersley Lake about 16 to 1. One that caught my eye at a huge price that is interesting. Pinky Brown. Interesting name.
Good name.
33 to 1. Goes for Neil Mulholland. Only a 5-year-old, so very, very young, and not definitely going to run either. But the form behind... actually, no, he is going to run. He's definitely going to run. He's definitely going to run, I think, because I think he's got Noel Feely already booked, which is obviously a positive as well. Interesting bit of form is behind Forrest Behan. He was giving him £2, and he only lost by 2 lengths. Forrest Behan has shown himself to be a very, very good horse since. Only a few lengths behind Waiting Patiently, who of course beat Politolog. And then won his next 2, and I really, really rate Waiting Patiently as well. Pinky Brown loves good ground. The faster the better, so No Rain will be fantastic. Massively unexposed. Noel Feely on board. Just an interesting one at 33 to 1. But yeah, I haven't got a huge play on this. On Monday, I will be properly going through it. So, but those are the kind of ones that caught my eye, especially Value at Risk and Pinky Brown at 33 to 1. But yeah, that's it.
That's day 1 settled. 7 races, all analysed by our man Jake Johns. A few absolute bets in there with the likes of Single Farm Payment. That's an absolute tip. And then there's plenty of others that Jake isn't entirely sure of, and he'll be looking at those more extensively closer to the races, and we will have the written tips up on site the day before each race. So don't forget to follow us on desktop, mobile, and our Cheltenham app, which is available now. Make sure that you download that. It's going great guns in terms of downloads at the moment, and we're really pleased with it. And it's got all of Jake's tips for every single day of the festival as well. So don't miss out on that. And don't forget that this is sponsored by BetVictor, who are offering a great offer of bet £10 on any sport, and they'll give you £2 for every single race at Cheltenham Festival.
Yeah.
£2 on every single race. So make sure that you open up an account with BetVictor using the link above. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, comment on this video, and come back for day 2 tips with our man Jake Johns.
Bye.